if I was living in a post-apocalyptic world, I would be all about self-care too. And
Congratulations.
thank you. Thank you so much. I'm really excited for this all to be coming out.
Yeah, Syfy's Wildlife. It's hilarious. So basically, it's the apocalypse, and the zoo animals have to figure out how to survive it. But it looks like they're having a pretty good time, though.
Yeah. I think it's all about like them kind of keeping their sanity, and like relying on each other for that. Kind of like what we've been going through with COVID.
So this show, it's airing late night on Syfy. It's a whole slew of animated shows, and it's great because things are changing because you play a panda named Debbie.
Debbie, yep.
For you, were you approached about that? What'd you think about it when they told you the concept?
Yeah, so when I was approached to sign on for the cartoon, Debbie was already a full force like character, and
Mm-hmm.
I think the minute like I was able to read the character breakdown, I was like, of course I want to play this fabulous panda who um is just all about herself in a post-apocalyptic world. Because I feel like if I was living in a post-apocalyptic world, I would be all about self-care too. And if it doesn't have to do with self-care, I don't want to hear about it.
And pandas are pretty adorable as they are, so
Yes.
you're putting a voice to it.
Yeah. Debbie, all right. So Debbie, like as I've been saying, Debbie's kind of like this queen bee type of diva character amongst the crew, right? Of
Yeah.
of the zoo animals. And so I think just kind of like naturally through her humor, you kind of like fall in love with her and like keep on trying to see what she's gonna do next.
And because you have like Adult Swim, you have some of those animated shows. I thought it would be more along the line, but it's actually not so bad. I mean, it can air in the daytime. They just curse. These animals just curse.
The cursing, I guess the cursing and the psychedelic frogs. But I mean, come on, like kids are gonna curse anyway. So
Yeah, that's true. I mean, not like they haven't heard anything in these days. They've heard it all.
yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of the other shows at late night animated shows, they're very adult sexualized, but this show is very different. It's not like that.
Yeah, no. I mean, I think there are definitely moments where, there's a sex joke here or there, but
Yeah.
it's definitely not like uh the main source of the humor, like
Hmm.
in any way.
And how do you shoot? Do you shoot by yourself in a booth, or do you have shared recording time?
So the pilot we did in a recording studio, which was cool because it was like, it was like a professional recording studio and all this stuff. This
Hmm.
is my first voiceover gig, so I was like really like excited to be in there. And then but once, everything happened with COVID, we ended up recording the rest of the season remotely, which
Mm.
was definitely an interesting experience in and of itself because, you know, me, who I'm not an audio engineer in the slightest, had to somehow create this makeshift booth in my closet. So they sent me like microphones and they sent me soundproofing blankets and they sent me, an interface and all this stuff. And it was basically just me having to, uh, be on a Zoom and follow the instructions, but also kind of be a makeshift audio engineer for whoever was not there.
Hmm.
It was interesting, but I think it made it all the more fun.
Yeah, definitely learn new skills, right?
Yeah.
So you identify as queer Latinx,
Yeah.
and to be honest, I wasn't familiar with you, but as I was reading, I was like, oh wow, that's cool that people are very receptive, and you're out there being a role model for people who are different, especially in these
Yeah.
times, these hard times right now, right?
Yeah. No. I've always I've been making content for the internet for like the past 8 years
Mhm.
consistently, I want to say. And it's funny because that role of kind of being an example for someone who's confident regardless of people's beauty standards or what people may say has been something that I've grown into, but it's something that I've grown into not necessarily intentionally. It wasn't something that I was like, oh, I want to be an example for gender nonconforming, non-binary people or queer people or gay people. But just by my very existence of like being a queer Latinx individual who just wants to create content that makes me happy and that puts smiles on people's faces, that's kind of how I've grown into, people really enjoying the content and seeing me as someone who's like an example of, not really caring what other people think.
No, I think it's great because whenever I hear the word influencer, I see it like I imagine a bikini wearing or a stud looking guy, and so when you see like normal people that we can aspire to, it's like, oh, he's an everyday guy. He's not these, Photoshop guys or girls.
Yeah, no, I'm everything that I've ever done has been homemade, and I think I come from the school of YouTube where back in the day before YouTube was super corporate, it wasn't these prepackaged influencers. It was these individuals who were everyday people who you were just interested in seeing what they were creating. And so that's why you started following them, and that's why you started supporting them. And so I like to think that I'm very much part of that type of, crew of influencer, that like I'm not a prepackaged, industry-made individual. Everything that you see is SkittLeZ and comes from me.
Well, it's refreshing. Congratulations on this great role, and hope to see more of you out there.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much.
Have a good one.
You too. Bye.